Today we're going to talk about Legion Remix and which class you should be playing in Legion Remix. Now, this is just a title because I know somebody's always going to ask what the best class is for that version of the game. So this time around we have Legion Remix, which I'm choosing to call an arcade mode in retail. And based on that, it doesn't really matter what class you play. That being said, some classes will have certain benefits, and I'm going to start the video here by saying, play the class you want to play. That is an incredibly boring statement, by the way, but it's true though. Play the class you want to play because they're all playable, they're all viable, and by the end of the game you will one-shot just about anything anyway. I mean, being a Warlock at this level that I'm at right now, which is like super end-game remix on PTR testing, I'm one-shotting stuff at a high level. I can literally go into a Mythic plus 10 and one-shot bosses, Mythic plus 20, almost one-shot there as well, and I can even solo Mythic plus 30 and plus 40. So at the end you can solo just about any content as any class. That being said, there are certain classes you might want to play over other classes. The obvious option here is to go for a class where you are missing your transmog pieces for the artifact. So I, for example, played a rogue back in Legion, and I have just about every single artifact piece or appearance on the rogue. That being said, I don't have anything for the Warlock, and I don't have anything for a Priest, so for me I'm going to play classes that I don't have the artifact appearances for. That way you can get the artifact appearances by simply playing the game, because most of the appearances you get from achievements by doing content you do anyway, so you don't have to go out of your way to farm those for the most part, you just play the game and get those transmog items. So once again, the more, play a class where you are lacking a bunch of appearances for the artifact and that you really want to get. Alternatively, play a class you really want to play. Now for me, I'm going to try to play 4 different classes, 1 cloth user, 1 leather user, 1 mail, and 1 plate. That way, I ensure that whenever I'm playing the game naturally, I am getting all the transmog pieces that I can that are not obtainable through bronze, if there are any that are not available through bronze. I'm just going to play at least 1 class of every single armor type, and that way I ensure that I'm getting everything that I can get on those classes, while simply once again playing the game itself. So, with that being said, there's a couple of things that might tell you which classes will be good for Legion Remix, and that's going to be super endgame. As you're seeing here, we are basically running through the dungeon and leaving at the end, re-queuing once again. So, if you really care about optimizing here, did I say optimizing? Either way, if you care about optimizing, you want to play a class focused on speed, but you also want to play a class that can survive things and has one-shotting abilities on an instant button press. Basically, think about this: power, tankability, survivability, mobility, speed. Any class that fits into those 4 categories will be absolutely lovely, and if you ask me, there's a couple of obvious choices. Number 1, a Druid, specifically Feral Druid or Guardian Druid, because once again, that way you're melee, you're tanky, you can one-shot just about anything. I mean, Boomkin as well, you can one-shot on a ranged basis, which could be great as well if you don't need to be Guardian to go bear form. So Boomkin can also be good, but like Druids in general, and of the 2 classes I'm about to highlight, Druid has one insanely good thing going for it that will be insanely valuable early in the remix. They have access to every single specialization in the game. They can tank, they can heal, they can DPS, they can even be both melee and ranged DPS, so they can be just about anything. And based on PTR testing, healers are in big demand. There's a lot of people playing both DPS and tanks in retail, but healers are in big demand. So every class that can be a healer, and if you have the will to heal, I will say try to get a healing off spec and be willing to heal content. It will speed up your queue times by so much, it will be insane. But going back to what I talked about now, soloing content will be what a lot of people do at the end game for Legion Remix. In that case, you want to be fast. Druids have access to dash and a bunch of other speed increasing mechanics, and I mean, for anybody soloing old content, Druids are great. There's a reason why a lot of people that are farming actively play a Druid, and speed farmers also play a Druid as well, but a second good option to go for is a Demon Hunter. That being said, I do believe that a lot of people are planning to main Demon Hunters in Legion Remix, so competition for tanking spots and DPS spots might be a little bit insane, so keep that in mind. But Demon Hunters are both fast, they have access to Feather Rush, so dashing basically, they have movement speed increases, a bunch of mobility, and once again, they can tank. Now, that tanking aspect is going to be important both for the end game and for the early game. End game, when you're soloing content, being in a tank spec simply lets you pull more mobs and clear the dungeon faster. So having access to, once again, a tank spec, even if you're not a main tank, just having a tank spec makes soloing content easier. Also, if we go back here right now to the beginning of the remix, we have something called Heroic World Tier, and I can tell you from first-hand experience, it's rough. It really is rough, and being a tank with, once again, increased survivability will make leveling in Heroic World Tier, or even being level 80 at the start, and doing Heroic World Tier, a lot easier. So tanks will be basically the meta and the way to go when it comes to both the early game and the late game. So if you're playing a class that can be a tank, I would suggest setting up a tank spec and getting the tank artifact as early as you can. It will once again help you out both early in Legion Remix and towards the end game as well. At the end of the day though, the whole tanking aspect might not be super important for late game, because right here I'm soloing a Mythic Plus dungeon, and I'm a Warlock. You don't take damage, so it's all about just running through as fast as possible. So for example, being a mage, you can use blink and various movement speed increases as well to simply run through the dungeon, and if you're a priest, you can simply angelic feather yourself and get a permanent movement speed increase almost, and then use Holy Nova or even just Shadowword Pain and kill just about any mob you can think about. You can even sometimes just kill them with Shadowword Death from the get-go. So once again, your class in the end game doesn't really matter that much, but early in the game being a tank could actually provide some pretty big, let's just call them quality of life increases, because while all content will be doable by just about everyone, tanks will usually have a pretty much easier time doing that content. And I will say once again, play the class you want to play. Don't follow the meta too much. A video like this is always fun to talk about, and talking about strength and weaknesses of classes is always, once again, fun to talk about. But at the end of the day, you should play a class that you think you will have fun playing. The more fun you have, the higher the chances are that you want to do content. So if you hate your class, chances are you might just quit. Pick a class you think is actually fun to play. Either way, if you want to chat even more about Legion Remix, I will be streaming all of my gameplay live on Kick, as you can see right under here, or even go to the video description and check me out on kick.com/SolheimTV, the link is down below. Either way, thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, and let me know in the comments while you're down there, which class you will main in Legion Remix, and a little note about why. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video very soon.